What is going on, people? Mark from Double Clutch Auto Reviews here. Thank you so much again for tuning in for another review video. Today I am here at BMW of Norwood, located at 918 Providence Highway in Norwood, Massachusetts, the famous Automile in the area. Reviewing for you guys today this brand new 2022 BMW M3 sedan with a 6-speed manual. They have an absolutely beautiful dealership here at BMW of Norwood, truly. And they also have a lot of brand new BMWs as well as other used off-brand vehicles for sale. If you're in the Norwood area looking for one of these types of vehicles, check them out. I will put all their information in the description below. I'm going to give you guys a little walk-around tour of this brand new 2022 M3, and we'll start off with the exterior styling, so let's dive right in. I don't think I can get away with doing a review of the newest generation M3 without, of course, discussing the very controversial front grille. BMW has designed these kidney grills on the new M3 to be much larger and go all the way down to the bottom of the front bumper compared to previous generations. The looks of them have been quite controversial. However, some people actually really like it. I can definitely see where it actually looks really aggressive, like almost like a big snarling nose of all the air coming into the front of this car. I can see what they're getting at, and I can see how it's growing on some people, but honestly, in my humble opinion, I definitely prefer the looks of the M8 kidney grills, for instance. I think that is much more handsome of a front fascia overall. With that being said though, I do know that BMW's engineers did say that the front grills allow a lot more air to be pushed into the engine bay, allowing increased power and more engine cooling, so gotta give them credit on that. I do always err on the side of performance. I also do think that the grills obviously stand out more on this Alpine White exterior color, for instance, rather than a black or other darker color that would blend in a little bit more. However, other than that, every other angle on this car is just absolutely gorgeous. I love every other aspect of the brand new M3. Between the side profile, the rear end, the diffuser, side skirts, the flared wheel arches, even the headlights, front splitter design, everything about this car otherwise just looks so damn good. My only downside, of course, was getting a darker colored car. Sure, that would blend in the grille a little bit more, but BMW offers a ton of crazy colors on the new M3. So to be honest, I feel like it might be doing a disservice if you're not getting this car in one of the awesome crazy colors that it does come with, exterior and interior. And now I'll move on to the headlights of the M3. Of course, it has LEDs and they are absolutely stunning looking. I love the looks of these headlights. And now you can see with the low lights on, they are super crisp. They're also very dimensional. I absolutely love the look of these. When you hit the turn signal, you can see that this portion of the daytime running light converts to the turn signal and blinks orange. And if you look at the mirrors, you can see the turn indicator integrated with a very sleek line going across to the outside as well. And now you can see with the brights on, the light's very crisp, still a very neat design. I really like what BMW did with these headlights. Moving on to under the hood. To open the hood, go into the driver's footwell as usual and pull on the hood release latch 2 times. That releases the hood latch mechanism. Now all you have to do is come to the front of the vehicle and open up the hood. You don't have to fiddle with another hood release latch once you get to the front of the car. Taking a look at the engine, this is actually a really nice looking engine bay. I love this triangular strut tower brace setup they have going on. I'm sure it adds a lot of rigidity to this chassis. I also am a big fan of these dual air intakes that are feeding this 3-liter twin turbo inline 6-cylinder, making 473 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. And that's mated to a 6-speed manual, rear-wheel drive, and getting fuel economy ratings of 16 miles per gallon city, 23 miles per gallon highway, and 19 overall average miles per gallon. And now we'll move on to arguably the much better looking side of the M3, its backside. At this angle, you can really appreciate all the body lines and hard muscular angles that they gave the M3. Overall, a very sleek and brawny look. Between the very subtle but still sharp looking ducktail spoiler, the very aggressive rear diffuser with those quad tip exhausts, and of course my favorite part of the M3, these flared wheel arches or the flared fenders. The flared fenders on the M3 make it look so muscular and so mean. The only thing that I don't like about the flared fenders, and Doug DeMuro pointed this out as well, with the rear fender flares, they kind of end abruptly at the rear door and it just kind of takes away from its overall muscular look. I think they could have designed that a little bit better and flared the door out a little bit more, but that might have not have been worth it to them for that extra cost of production. However, honestly, if you're making this car, I would say do it right. Extend those doors out to match the flared fenders. It would have made the look so much sleeker, so much more muscular overall. definitely would have been a bigger fan of that. The side skirts also look really, really nice. You just have to be careful. You make sure you don't step on them or hit them with your shoes when you're climbing into the car. The front fenders also have this M3 vent badge looking thing. I think it looks cool, but in fact it is not a real vent. There are real vents though on the front bumper that let air into the front wheel wells that help with airflow and cooling of the brakes. I love a neat styling touch that also adds to the performance. And this M3 also has a carbon fiber roof, which looks absolutely sick. Hope you can see the weave in this lighting, but I'm telling you, this thing looks gorgeous up top. With that, you don't get a sunroof, of course, so you don't get as much light into the interior, but if you're a performance enthusiast and this is the package of the M3 you want, who cares? That carbon fiber roof is absolutely awesome, and it definitely saves weight. The mirrors also have a very cool look. Out of these two spokes, the bottom one is the one that's actually attached to the car, but then they kind of have this fake spoke extending out towards the A-pillar. It's not actually attached, so I don't know what kind of function it serves, but I actually think it does look really cool. It gives it almost like a modern art design styling aspect, in my opinion. And we also have these absolutely gorgeous black 826M wheels. I love the look of these wheels. However, I can imagine that they'd be a pretty big pain in the butt to try to clean with all those nooks and crannies. But when they are clean, they look damn good. And of course, we also have absolutely huge carbon ceramic brakes, both front and rear, certainly needed to stop this car if you're pushing it to its limit. And now moving on to the trunk of the M3. The M3 actually has a power trunk. It opens and closes automatically with a push of a button, if you can believe that. I don't know if that's necessarily needed in a vehicle like this, especially the performance trim of an enthusiast car. I don't think I would necessarily want it. I feel like it would add extra weight that we don't really need to add, but it does have it, so I will show you how it works. You can either open it by pushing on the key fob twice and holding it, opens up automatically for you, or you can push a switch on the driver's door. And once the trunks open up, you can see there's a decent amount of room back here. Nothing crazy though, it's just a sedan. With all the seats folded in place, it has 13 cubic feet of cargo space. I do love the fact that we have a grocery bag hanger right here to the left. Yuri from Straight Pipes loves that, and I love it too. To fold the rear seats down, you just pull on these latches on either side. And with all the seats folded down, as you can see, there's a decent amount of room in here. Nothing crazy though, as I said before. At the end of the day, it is essentially the chassis of a 3 Series sedan, so don't expect it to be cavernous in here by any means. And to close the tailgate, you just reach right up here, and you can either push this button or this button. This one just closes the tailgate, and this one locks all the doors once it's closed. All right, climbing on into the brand new 2022 BMW M3. First thing I notice, of course, is at the base of the headrest, the M3 logo glows as soon as you open any door of the car. Very cool feature. Reminds you that you're in something special and that you didn't just get a normal 3 Series BMW, that you got the M3. And then the next thing you notice, of course, is the color of this interior. This is called Kyalami Orange. I don't think this is for everybody, but for the people buying an M3, I think they'll like it a lot. I personally like it a lot. This one, I do think contrasts well. Overall, pretty cool looking interior. There's also this carbon fiber trim, beautiful, beautiful stuff on the center console, along the dash, along with the brushed aluminum trim pieces around it. As far as this fit and finish goes with the M3, inside and out, very, very top-notch quality, which you would expect from BMW. And now looking at the driving position and the steering wheel configuration, I have full power adjustable seats. I wouldn't have minded manual seats, but that's okay. It is a high-end BMW after all. But we also do have a very configurable tilting and telescoping steering wheel. I can set it up exactly where I want it to go. Just lock it in place right there. And now I have an absolutely fantastic driving position between the clutch position with my left leg, the shifter where it rests with my right hand is being right there. It's being able to go boom, boom, from wheel to shifter, wheel to shifter. It's a nice setup. They certainly paid attention to the driver's positioning in this car and its configurability, as they should. There's also these cool M1 and M2 switches on either side of the steering wheel, and those are configurable drive modes that you can set yourself. All you have to do is push the button to change the entire mode completely, and you can set them up custom to how you like it. If you push right here on the center stack cubby, this little carbon fiber trimmed piece slides right up, and it reveals your cup holders, along with a USB port and a 12-volt outlet. In the center console, we have the infotainment controls with all the buttons to go to that specific page, as well as the dial and trackpad. Next to that, we have the park and brake. It's electronic, unfortunately. It's not a manual one where you can just grip it and rip it like back in the old days. Below that, we have the traction control off button. And above that, we have your exhaust mode, your M mode button, the setup button, engine start stop, auto start stop for the engine when you're in traffic and you want to save fuel and whatnot, your parking sensors, and your top-down 360-degree camera. Playing around with the infotainment system, the widgets are very crisp and clear. It's super responsive to my touch. I like it a lot. Seems to be overall pretty intuitive. It's not my favorite. I think I do like Audi's better. I think it's more user-friendly, but once you start messing around with it, you get used to it. Some cool features in the infotainment system are the M lap timer that, of course, tracks your lap times at a track. Very cool. There's the climate control rules, which you go into that, and you can see when you auto start the car. For instance, in the morning, you can have the heated seats or the heated steering wheel turn on if it's below a certain degrees. Very cool feature. You can also do the opposite if it's hot, of course, with the ventilated seats and whatnot. And I absolutely love the placement of the heated steering wheel button, just right smack dab in the middle of the steering wheel. There's no questions about that. Turn it right on. And looking at the app called Drive Recorder, that allows you to configure the built-in dash cam in this M3. I think that is a great feature. I think every new modern car should have a built-in dash cam. It's almost going to be a necessity. And I have to say, there's a reason why people really stand behind the German luxury brands like BMW, Audi, Mercedes, and whatnot, because every switch in here, every material just feels top-notch. Everything I'm touching is either soft and supple, or it's either rigid and solid feeling, even including the plastics for what they are. Everything in here just feels really good. I gotta hand it to BMW. All right, now climbing on into the rear seats of the 2022 M3. You'll notice for an average size adult like me, I'm sitting behind the seat where I would be sitting if I were in the driver's position, and I have decent legroom. Headroom's a little cramped, but overall not too bad. I wouldn't want to be sitting back here for hours and hours on a long road trip. If I was going to be in the back of this car constantly, I feel like I would definitely want to upgrade to a 5 Series or a 7 Series at least. But for a short trip, this isn't bad at all. And if you're not planning on using the back seats very often, this would be more than fine to carry multiple passengers around on an occasional basis. Not much thought was put into the rear seats though by BMW, you can tell. All I really have back here are some dome lights. I do have climate controls with 2 USB-C ports, so not too bad. I also have a cup holder on my door side, but there are no front pouches on the front seats, for instance, for rear seat passengers to store items. Just a big hard piece of plastic and whatnot. Clearly didn't think that rear passengers would be needing those. And there's also no center armrest. But what you can do is pull down this center piece of the seat and use this kind of as a low armrest. But the only problem is now there's a gigantic hole going through to the trunk. Definitely not the best setup for rear seat passengers in the back of the M3. Certainly wasn't their forethought when building this vehicle. However, you can certainly make this work in a pinch or even on an occasional basis, as I said before. And last but not least, I cannot end this video without showing you guys, of course, a cold start and a little bit of light revs with M mode on and with M mode off to show you the difference between the valves closed in the exhaust versus the valves being open. Take a listen. Alright guys, that is all I have time for today. I really hope you enjoyed my little walk around review of this brand new 2022 BMW M3. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. It really helps me out, so thank you so much. If you want to come check it out at BMW Norwood at 918 Providence Highway in Norwood, Massachusetts, or at bmwofnorwood.com. I will put all of their contact information, including their phone numbers and a link to their website in the description below. Take care guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.